Oh yes, a beautiful morning to you. How are you? This is the only breakfast show that gives you and serves you a wholesome breakfast. Thank you for tuning in to the Morning Drift. My name is Anki Dorisumbat, and you'd be asking yourself if you are a family viewer. And when I say family, that means you're a family member of Morning Drift. And it's not very normal for you to see the extraordinary segment come this early. Well, that means today we have a special guest for you. And when we say extraordinary, we say they have stepped outside the box. They have done 1, 2, 3, 4 many things that human beings have said, I cannot do that as one person. However, our guest today, who is the CEO Optiven Limited, Optiven Group, Optiven Foundation. Optiven has done so many things, I wouldn't name all of them. But there is a brain behind it, there is a man behind that, and that is Mr. John Wachuiri. Now, most of you have met him in person because he only does not sit down as a CEO, does not hang on to the title. He goes on the ground. He's a philanthropist. He's a youth empowerment enthusiast. He's a family man. He is a man of God. He's an author. And do you know that as one human being to do all these things and balance that is extraordinary? We want to hear his story and how he's able to do all these things, and ultimately also your questions on real estate should pop up. He will answer them. If you want to understand and you're watching from diaspora and you've been asking, how do I purchase when I'm in diaspora? All these clarifications that you need are right here this morning. Also, do not forget that he is the founder, like I said earlier on, and CEO of Optiven Kenya. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on set, and I appreciate that I wore the right color for an amazing conversation. Welcome to Look Up TV.
Thank you, thank you.
How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. I thank God for this wonderful morning, and I thank God for life.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Most of people know you as a humble man, ever smiling, and thank you for proving that this morning because you started with a smile. And being put at that level where we say he's extraordinary, would you agree that this far you have come 20 years down the line with Optiven still running and farm, that you surely are an extraordinary man?
Well, I won't say that I'm extraordinary because it's by the grace of God that we have achieved what we have achieved. And I always tell people that I mentor, people I speak to, wherever I go, that God created us as the stewards, as the custodians of God's resources. So the resources that are there in Optiven, the people we work with, the people we support across 47 counties, the foundation works. It is because George Wachuiri is not because he's the best CEO. It's not because I am the best brain. It's because God has put me there to steward his resources. Remember that whatever that we have, including our own lives, belongs to God. And once we realize that, God keeps adding you more responsibilities, and you must be accountable for these responsibilities. So we say that for us at Optiven, we are a channel, and that's why we are very passionate in terms of supporting communities, because you know these resources, we are just to take care of them. They have the owner. The owner is God himself. We own nothing, by the way. And that's why you say that when you go to heaven, we came with nothing.
Yes.
And we go with nothing. So when we are here and God has given us life and energy and power and thoughts, we need to do our very best. We have no excuse but to do our very best. Yes.
And I like when you start us off like that, because it is all about impacting lives.
Yes.
And 20 years down the line, if you're watching today, and of course allow me to mention one of the first people you gifted the land, that is 1.5 million, I believe, Josephine Leshao. Amazing. Good morning. So how many more lives down the line have been impacted as we're speaking? So we are live on Facebook. I'd love to hear your comments and your questions and your concerns, even as we walk this journey and walk this talk with Mr. George right here in studio. I know we have had this history before. I know it's probably somewhere written because you're also an author. But I'd love for the viewer watching this morning to understand what was the inspiration behind finding, or of course beginning, Optiven when you started. What inspired this journey at the beginning?
Well, I think my journey is a miracle. You know, it's a testimony of what God can do, because we were born 7 of us in our family. And I lost my father when I was very, very young. I was actually 7 years. And my mother was not educated. And we come from a very poor background, whereby in our area there was no rain, there was no cash crop, there was nothing. And we were brought up with a lot of challenges, no sufficient food. Sometimes you go without food. You go to school, half you're at school, half there's no fees. And those days, the fees was 20 shillings. And you could not afford 20 shillings fees. By the grace of God, we were able to go through school. And of course, I remember one time I was in a secondary school. And 50% of the time you are home. 50% you are in school. And I remember those days women were coming to do fundraising. They were called, it was called Harambe those days.
Yes, yes.
And the people come with 5 shillings, 2 shillings, and they could contribute the fees. I remember the first year, Form 1, my fees was 380 shillings. And it was not easy to get 380 shillings. And that's why we find that I'm personally very passionate in supporting the orphans across 47 counties, because I know my education was supported by the people, not people who had money, but people who were also deserving. And that was high school. Of course, going to the university was not easy either. Coming from the village, coming to Rwakapete campus and seeing clean people, wonderful people, neat people. I was a boy from the village, under the weather, hungry, confused with the city of Nairobi, And by the grace of God, I gave my life to Jesus.
Yes.
Second week in the university. And I have no regrets. Many years later, I have seen what God has done to my life. And of course, in the university, we were there. And I was not sure whether I would finish the university. Because when I was there, that's the time that the university people were paying. But a thought came in the university. What if I do some business here and earn money to pay my fees? A thought just came. And I started now taking photographs. I was a photographer. We go for missions. And my job was to capture the moment when the demons were being cast out. After the mission, I sold these photos. Remember, those are the days of the film.
Yes.
We had a deal with an Asian guy who I was producing. That's the first business. Second business was washing people's clothes. Of course, brethren are usually very clean. So I wash their clothes, I iron them, I charge them 20 shillings, 15 shillings, 30 bob. The last business was, I was a barber. I was in charge of people's neatness. Yani kunyoa.
Yes.
So I had 3 businesses. And that's how I paid my fees. Okay. And of course, after campus, now we went out there looking for a job. And coming out there, it was not easy. I remember starting over 15 businesses that failed. And that story is here. You start this business, it collapses. You start this one, it fails. You start this one. At some point, even real estate. This time I lost 5 million. And I said, God, I do not want to do business again. Give me a job. And I started applying for jobs. And for 1 year, nobody could even respond that I've seen your CV, George.
We're talking about 1 year of no response.
No response. And now, you have done your CPAK, you have BCom, you have masters, and nobody is talking to you. That's why we say at Optiven, one of our goals is to create 30,000 jobs. And today we have 400 employees. And we are still adding. Actually, we are still hiring more marketers, even this year. Because I know what it feels when our young people don't have jobs.
Absolutely.
That's what we say at Optiven. Other than selling land, we have a responsibility of creating opportunities for other people. And life was very tough. Can you imagine 1 year? We are used to money. This is 1 year of no money. And what happens is that you lose all the friends. I lost all my friends. I lost everybody I knew that loved me. You know? And I have only 2 friends. My own pastor, Reverend Philip Katutu. I'm now a church elder there in Destiny Life Church. And my wife, Mary. I know she is watching.
Good morning.
And life was tough. You know where my office was?
No.
My office was Uhuru Park. Under a tree with my Bible, a notebook, and a pen. And that's how foundation was born. Because I told God, God, if you restate me again, number 1, I'll be tithing. Number 2, I'll be supporting people. Number 3, I would never be proud. That was a game changer. And I think that was 1 year of university in a desert. You have no money, no job, no resources. You are just there with your God. Well, I didn't vote for God. I think I would be now dead.
And you're such an inspiration this morning, because as you're speaking, there's so many youth who have, of course, graduated, have second upper, honors, they have first class honors. And when you're speaking, they're probably seeing the young man in you who sat under that tree. That is hope for you. Let us know on our Facebook link what your questions are, because I know my next question would be, we're going to go deeper into what Optiven does, because I know there are clients who are watching this morning. But before we do that, I'm looking at what drove you or what held you forth during this time? Of course, you've shared that, moment, but there must have been something that kept you hanging on before even the foundation picked up. What were the values that made George stronger in those difficult moments?
I think one of the key things that really helped me to stand, because at some point I think I was under depression. I remember one time I had different shoes. I did not know. I only knew at about 3 p.m. The whole day the shoes were different. And I think I discovered.
All right.
Yes, maybe I was depressed. But what kept me going is trusting God. Because every time I would feel down, I would say, hey, at least I have life.
Yes.
I'm not dead, I'm alive. And I think the power of prayer. Prayers kept me moving. I think that's the biggest thing I can say. Of course, after that, God came and God did an amazing thing. And there is a story. And what I did is that I say that I will record that story in this book. It's called Soul and Kanego.
Amazing.
You read this book, it will inspire you, will encourage you, and maybe the first person to ask a question, I'll donate a book to that particular person who is watching us online. And of course, all people who are doing business. I also discovered that in Kenya today, there are so many people who do business, but they fail.
Yes.
In fact, according to statistics, Kenya Bureau of Statistics, they say for the last 5 years, we have lost 2.2 million businesses. People opened businesses, but they closed. But why are they closing? So I did a book, because I've also lost 15 businesses.
These are solutions.
And this book is how to start small and build an empire. You read this particular book and your business will change. I do mentorship for business people. I've done cohort 1, cohort 2, cohort 3. And the people I mentor, there is one I call Kitonga. When we started, he was just, trying to start. Today, he has hired another 15 people through mentorship. And I use this book to mentor. It will tell you what you need to do, especially in business in Kenya. How do you hire people? How do you put structures?
Yes.
How do you put your own policies? How do you craft your own vision? It is this particular book. It's 1,500. This one is 1,000. The money from these books, we use that money to raise money for the foundation. Because remember, our foundation, we donate 5% of Optiven money. And the money I raise from these books, it goes towards supporting the less fortunate in the community, not only education.
Yes.
We have programs for girls. We have programs for the old people. We call it senior citizens. We have a program for physically challenged. Last year alone, we gave up thousands of wheelchairs. People with cerebral palsy, people with back issues.
Yes.
And when they walk, we call it mobility that brings a smile. When they sit on that particular chair, they smile. And we raise that money through the foundation. And that is one thing that we love, we like. And maybe that's why you find that Optiven gets blessings because of supporting the less fortunate in the society.
And I like when you say mobility that gives a smile. So that's a take home today. You've been hearing that slogan. This is why it's mobility that gives a smile. Now the books right there are your gifts this morning. I want to reiterate and echo that to you. So who is going to ask the first question as we speak? We are live on Facebook, Look Up TV, and there's no special gift that I can give you this morning more than a book that is autographed by George himself, and that should be a smile for the rest of the week. Now start texting in and of course leaving your questions right here on Facebook. Now let's twist a little to the Kenyans watching in diaspora. I've seen that question asked over and over again online on how they can actually purchase land through Optiven when they're in diaspora. So that is a question I was going through. I said, Kenyans in diaspora really want to be in touch. What did you want to say this morning, as I'm sure they're watching from Malawi for sure, Zambia, Canada, and there are those who are watching in South Africa. That is Joyce, to be specific.
Well, thank you very much for those brothers and sisters in diaspora. And Optiven, you have been in this business for the last 21 years. And we have empowered quite a number of diaspora people. Personally, I have been to South Africa talking to these people, to the US, to the UK, and there are so many, even as I talk to you, that are building in our projects. And it is easy. You only require to go to our website, www.optiven.co.ke. You only need to call us on 0790 300 300. Or we have a very interesting lady called Amani. It's a 24/7 salesperson. You just send a message on WhatsApp, 0790 300 300, and you get all the information, all our projects, how much they are costing, the subdivision plans. And one thing I want to assure diaspora is that when you invest with Optiven, you are very sure you will not lose your money. We have been able to support so many people, and our properties are in different levels depending on your pocket. You can get a property below 400, a property below half a million, a property of $1 million, a property of, and they are classified in different levels. There is 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. 5 star is where you even put Cabro. We do underground power.
Amazing.
We do perimeter wall. We do a gate and the guarded manned security. That's 5-star. And of course, they are expensive, like a man leach. It goes from 80 million and above.
Okay.
There is 4-star. 4-star is ready to build. We put solar street lighting, we plant trees, we do the maram roads, and then we do common areas. It's a gated community, and you are ready to build. A good example is Victory Gardens. We have Happy Gardens in Kitengela. We have the Garden of Joy, where diaspora have really bought in Machakos. And of course, we have the Rista. The Rista, we don't put solar, but we do the trees, we do the roads, we do the fence. And that one, the only missing thing is the solar street lighting.
Okay.
A good example is Revelations Gardens Kitengela. It goes for 1.295. And what's more, you can be able to, we can give you on installments. You say, George,
yes,
this is what I
absolutely.
have. And we can tell you to pay in a year, pay 1.5 years, depending on your pocket. And then you have other very interesting ones in out of the city called Wema Gardens in Narumoru. We are saying that by Wema Gardens, wake up like a tourist. Because when you are there, you're just watching Mount Kenya. Can you imagine?
Beautiful. That's just where I would want to wake up.
Exactly. People are buying at $399. And I've seen people coming and buying 15 plots. They want to do cottages and houses that you can be able to rent to tourists, or you can put it on Airbnb. And as little as $399, you get yourself a property there with a title, and people love it. And the good thing is that the roads is just there. There's a lot of development with the counties. And we have others in Malindi, for example. Last week I was in Malindi. We have a property 5 kilometers off Malindi town selling at $399. And this particular one, we are telling people just register, because we want to, especially our customers, to benefit from the Malindi deal, because it's a walking distance to the so many.
Yeah.
I remember one time I went to Europe, and they told me, George, I have no money. I asked her, how much money do you have now?
Yes.
She says, €5. I told her, €5 is your deposit. Trust in God that you'll finish this property.
Amazing.
Do you know what? That lady now is a single mother, is now an owner of a beautiful home in Kitengela. Faith. And I want to ask all our investors.
Yes.
You must not have money to invest. You have faith first.
Have faith fast.
Yes.
I want to look at the feedback real quick, because people now want to capture these books, and now they're asking questions real quick. Keep asking them. Of course, George is saying he's very open, he's very approachable. And if you have anything to say this morning, start by saying, George, I need this. What can I do? We're talking about extraordinary minds which have overtaken what we call pride and ego, and still have remained firm in humility and trust in God. Now, real quick, let me see. James Kinywa seems to have been the first person to ask this question. And what he asked real quick was, where can we get copies of this book?
James Kinywa now gets a free copy.
You get a copy already, but of course you want to tell them where to get more.
Yeah, you can get these books at in our offices, Absa Plaza, the former Barclays Plaza, 14th floor or 15th floor. You can pick, or you can just do a text on 0790 300 300. Our team, foundation team, can be able to deliver within Nairobi, even in diaspora. They are available on Amazon. I think it's $10 on Amazon. You can pick it up from Amazon.
All right.
Yes.
So now you can get a copy. If we don't gift you today, we'll get a copy in all those other places. And of course, I can see here Nicholas Mailu is watching. Faith Harry says Optiven is the most trusted real estate company in this century.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Faith.
And of course, Nearly Andrew says what scares the youth on buying land is the numerous scammers out there. However, Optiven has been tried and is trusted. I'm interested to know whether Optiven has projects in Nakuru.
Keep praying for us. We are coming, but we have one we are launching tomorrow in Naivasha, so we are closer to Nakuru.
Amazing. So there you have your answer, and I hope you're planning on getting one. That's why you're interested in Nakuru. Sarah and Jerry says Optiven is the best. Is the best there is. Sally Daniels, his humility is on another level. I'm watching from okay, and would like to know the easiest way to own a home back home through Optiven. I think it's somewhere abroad.
Wow, I know Maggie is also nearby this particular show.
Yes.
If you drop your number there, Mike can be able to call you and tell you step by step, and you'll be happy dealing with Optiven. People get very excited going through Optiven. No stress.
No stress.
You just own your property like a joke.
Like a joke? Did you say like a joke? And one thing that is exciting is how Kenyans have been worried about customer service. But as we speak here, even the CEO CEO himself looks like he's on the forefront for customer service. Isn't that impressive?
We thank God.
Thank you,
The
George.
other year we got an award on customer service. And of course, for diaspora people, we have an office for diaspora manned by a lady called Jerusha. When you come to Kenya, we take you for lunch, we take you around, see our properties, and we love our customers.
They love their customers and we love them too. Real quick, CD Konde says, George Wachuiri's story is very humbling. May God continue to give you strength as you continue to impact people's lives. Mushiri Muchoki, a published author, yet he shares the book's sales proceeds to charity foundation. He says that's profound. Nicholas Moilu, inspiring indeed. Optiven Group is a household name for the right reasons. And of course, as we just come back to the feedback again, Evans says has actually left his number.
Wow.
And he wants you to get in touch, so we'll share that with the CEO and we will follow up as well if you got in touch with him. Faith Harris says he's talking about Daisy Nyams. Maybe he's waking up Daisy to actually catch up with the conversation. As we continue the conversation, of course, we've already awarded one book to Kenua James. We have a winner, but there are questions that come in if the client now wanted to actually purchase the land. How exactly would they go through that? Is there a website? Maybe you don't want to explain the whole of it, but most of them are asking, how do we go through that process?
So thank you. Of course, there's a website, www.optiven.co.ke, or you can cash us on our Facebook, Optiven Limited, or my Facebook, George Wachuiri. And the next thing is that to inquire, and once you inquire, we'll give you various options. You can also inquire through our chat box, Amani, and you can be able to just send a WhatsApp on 0790300300. It has all the information right there. And or you can call us, once you call us on 0790300300, we can be able to talk to you. And then we take you to site visit, and we don't charge. We have beautiful cars, nice vans.
Absolutely.
We take you there. There's water there. We sanitize. We obey the MOH rules.
Yes.
And once you see the property, you may say, "Hey, George, I have seen a managed, but I want a cheaper one." We take you to another one, maybe Garden of Joy 1.495, or Victory Gardens 2.5 million, or Happy Gardens 1.795. Like many people from diaspora, they are buying Happy Gardens because right now we are doing the power, we are doing the infrastructure. And once you like it, we ask you, by the way, how much deposit do you have? Okay, I said I have this deposit. We do an agreement for you, we do an offer letter for you, and then you start the journey. And every time you pay, we give you a receipt, and then we also give you a statement. By the end of it, and then we now ask you your 3 passport size photos, your ID, if you're in diaspora, your passport, and then we make work easier for you. We have a legal department in Optiven. We go to the registry and then transfer now title to your name, and then we hand over that title to you. And that's not the end, because we said that our journey is 2 steps towards home ownership. Once you purchase these value-added plots, we now ask you, by the way, how much money do you have for us to do for you a home? We have Optiven Homes that does houses for our customers only. So you say, hey, George, I have only 5 million. 5 million, we give you options. I have 4 million, we give you options. And then we build a beautiful home for you. So if you're in diaspora, maybe you don't want to stay in that particular home. We have another sister company called PMC Estates, www.pmcestate.co.ke. It has its own MD, Peter. They look for a tenant for you.
Amazing.
They put a tenant in that house, and then they guide you. How much rent do you get? They ask you for an account. Every 5th of the month, the money is put in your account. So you are earning when you're in South Africa. You are earning in Botswana. You are earning in the US. And we make things easy. And what about repairs? The same company repairs your houses. Of course, they will advise you how are the repairs. And that's how diaspora people are adding money. Instead of sending money to Kenya every time, Optiven send money to diaspora. Because we are managing diaspora apartments, diaspora homes, and that's why we find that Optiven, we are totally different from others. That's why we say that there are only 2 companies, real estate companies in Kenya, Optiven and others. Because we do our things in an organized manner. We have a vision of empowering our people. We are happy when customers are happy. We are happy when customers are prospering. And then we also say that you cannot come near Optiven and remain the same, whether you are a supplier, whether you are a customer, because number one, we pray for you. Every Wednesday, we do prayer and fasting for our customers, for our sales, for our people, our staff, we call them partners. And that's a game changer for Optiven. So you can't come near Optiven, including Look Up TV. Right now, people be coming through for adverts here because Optiven is there. Because we are transformers. Our job is to change this world. Our job is to change people. Our job is when you come near us, lazima, you have to change. And I'm happy that I'll be doing cohort 3 on mentorship. And maybe there are people who are out there, they are struggling with their businesses. We don't charge anything. You only go to my blog, www.georgewashiri.com. Register there that George in the classes of February, I want to be a mentee, and I'll mentor you on how to do business, because mentorship is better than experience.
Amazing.
And I have seen it working to many people.
Yes.
And if you are there, you can just go there, register. The vice chancellor for this George Wachuiri School of Mentorship is Nagilai, and Nagilai will admit you, and then for 6 months, you must attend 70% of the classes for you to graduate. And what's more, graduation is in a facility called GMC. You go there with the graduation attire, we graduate you, give you a certificate, and I can tell you, the people we have mentored, their businesses are growing, because they say that one of the things that we lack in Kenya is many people who mentor our young people, many people who mentor business people.
Yes.
Like for me, I failed so many times. One of the things I did not do, I did not have a mentor. We do not want you to fail because you don't have a mentor. George is here. I am your virtual mentor. You can go to my page, George Wachuiri.
Yes.
You can be able to pick. My blog is very vibrant. I do
All
2
right.
blogs in a week. And I have seen Kenyan people improving, because our duty is to improve. Our vision is to be the champions of socio-economic transformation. Because at the end of the day, you will be judged by how much money you made. By the way, you ask me, how much money did you make last year? I don't know. But ask me, how many people have you offered jobs? I'll tell you to the last person. I know how many there are.
All right.
How many children are accessing education because of Optiven Foundation? I know how many they are. That's what God expects us to do, being a people of impact.
Amazing.
Yes.
And even as you're watching today, I hope you're grasping all these things he's saying. Go to those sites, start talking to him, send a message, because it is not an impactful conversation until you actually take action. We want to talk about Optiven going green. It was a talk last year, climatic change. It was an international thing, but you took it to yourself to actually go green, and there is some passion you have for the environment. Clean homes. Please talk to us about it and what is driving you in that direction, and what people should actually borrow from what Optiven is doing when it comes to going green and having a healthy, sanitized environment.
Well, I think it's also, according to the Bible, that we are the stewards of the planet, the stewards of God's resources. And the planet has got a lot of resources, but due to population explosion, we have depleted these resources. And for us at Optiven, we said we cannot continue doing things the same way. And we started with our customers, and we are telling our customers that when you come to build your home that is, a home that is green. You can use natural lighting. You can use energy-saving bulbs. You can harvest your water. Right now they're saying the next expensive resource is going to be water in the next 30 years. And we tell them, use gutters to harvest the water. If they are the architects, the way you design the buildings, even the way our engineers design the building, it's a building that uses less energy. Come to our projects in terms of recycling, plastics. We train and teach people on how to dispose this waste, not just take water and throw away the bottle. And I'm happy that the government of Kenya is also doing the same. If you go to many restaurants in Mombasa, they are now using not the plastic bottles, but the glass bottles, which is very good. We also say that if you look at the forest cover in Kenya today, it's below 10%.
Yes.
The people to increase this forest cover is Optiven and other people. That's why we are very passionate on our projects. We plant trees with passion. And you go to a place like Kitengela Victory Gardens, you may think you are in Karura. There are homes there, but there are so many trees. And we do that with a lot of passion. We also say that we educate people on the purpose of going green. That's why we came up with the Go Green Awards. Telling people, if you are supporting the green agenda, if you're supporting sustainability, if you're supporting sustainable development goals by the UN 2015, we want to recognize you. And we recognize over 100 people. We give them awards. You know why? We are replicating ourselves. We are giving birth to ourselves, because Optiven Go Green, we cannot do it alone. But we want to bring other people, encourage them by awarding them. It was a fantastic event. Dr. Chris Kiptok came, the PS, and it was fantastic. This year, we're also preparing, because if we don't do it, I know the government is trying. International government, they are trying, but it is you and me that we must do it. If we don't do it, our children will not forgive us. We always remember Professor Wangari Maathai.
Yes.
She saved our Uhuru Park. She saved our forest, and we need more Wangari Maathais in this era where people only look at the bottom line. And for us at Optiven, we say it is a priority for us in terms of going green in our projects, the people we mentor, the people we network with, and I'm happy that the movement is now gaining fire.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that movement, you should be part of the movement as we're speaking this morning. He's saying it is Optiven's responsibility, but so it is the responsibility of Lookup TV and your family watching from back at home. So let us know what you're grasping. What is your take home? Because we're about to conclude, but what is your take home? Allow me to again appreciate those who are watching us live on Facebook. And I'll start with Joyce Kimari, who I told you for sure was watching this morning. Wow. She says, thank you, George, for the info. Next time you are in South Africa, shout a bit louder. Some of us are very far away from big cities and hardly hear about these visits.
Wow.
So maybe next time you need to look for Joyce Kimari. Maybe you can assure her on your camera that you might be in South Africa soon.
Yes, Joyce, maybe you can tell me which state you are. You know, I've been to Pretoria, Krugersdorp, you know, and other cities inside there. You know, maybe you can tell me your city. I can pay you a visit next time I come to South Africa. Maybe probably this year when COVID goes down. Yeah,
probably when COVID goes down, Joyce, there you have it. And of course, Maggie, Wambugu, or Optiven, I want to appreciate people who are waking others up, because this is information you don't want even your family member to miss. And she's waking up Cyrus Kihoro. So I hope Cyrus Kihoro is awake. We're looking forward to your question and, of course, your comments to our CEO this morning, CEO Optiven, of course. Oworo Tet is saying, let's just be open. This is the most inspirational, informative, all-round morning TV. Oh, thank you very much. Show you never want to miss. Anki and the crew, you guys are the next big thing in Africa.
Wow, I agree.
Thank you. And, of course, people are waking up Pastor David Kark. Let's see if there are any other questions. Of course, Waiderangure is saying excellent show and excellent guest.
Thank you.
This is the CEO Optiven, Foundation Optiven Kenya, Optiven Limited. And of course, I'm appreciating every other thing people are asking here. Let's see. Guy Nagilai says you don't need to have money to invest. You only need to have faith first. Amen. That's their take home. Wow. Thank you very much for, of course, reiterating that. Kate Kasowa says the most environment sustainability company. So I think Kenyans are appreciating what you're doing, and of course I have somebody giving out numbers they can get in touch with. So just follow Caroline Kimani, who is getting in touch with you when you have questions on how to reach Optiven Kenya, right there on our comment section. Now this is extraordinary.
Yes.
And this century, this time and age, the youth, like you've mentioned, as you were a young man, you were struggling. And they're looking at where then can we put our time at? Can we start real estate? We're 20 years old, we're 24, we're 23, we have studied. But how do we venture into real estate? As a beginner, you know, where do you start from? What should you put in place as you are thinking of taking this, you know, turn or venture into real estate?
Well, thank you. Of course, other than real estate, maybe they say, where do I start with my business? And I always say that when you start a business, it has to start with your passion. What do you like doing for free? What you like doing for free, that's your passion. And you can be able to develop that passion to something tangible in terms of business. And those who are eyeing to start real estate, you can start small. Personally, I started as an agent, you know, and I respect agents. You know, I would sell people's properties. They pay me commission. I know it's a very frustrating job because sometimes you are not paid. I remember one time I sold a property and I was not paid a cent, you know. And there as an agent, you now keep learning. And as you keep learning, you can be able now to start small. And real estate, by the way, is very big. It's not only selling, building homes. Real estate is huge. You're talking about maybe land selling. You're talking about construction. You're talking about warehousing. You're talking about putting infrastructure like schools or hospitals. I've seen a friend of mine. His job is just to put infrastructure in terms of schools, and then they rent those schools. They put infrastructure for hospitals. They rent or they lease. And it also goes beyond. You know, I've seen the people now with prime properties. Instead of selling these properties, they lease it. They tell you, come to my property. 1 acre is 200,000. That's the real estate. So depending on which area that you want to play, you know. And for us, we are in that area of land development and affordable housing. And those who have an idea of starting, I think it's very important to have a mentor, somebody who can be able to work with you, so that don't do the same mistakes George Wachuiri did. I have done many expensive mistakes, and that's why I like mentorship. I like mentoring people, that you don't need to go the same holes that George Wachuiri did. You can be able to come and talk to George Wachuiri, and I can hold your hand on how to do better real estate. And also tell our young people that real estate is not crowded. There's no property bubble, neither bust in Kenya, because it's a shame that only 15% of our people who own homes. all the other people, they're either renting or they don't have a home. So the cake is so huge, and that's why you find that Chinese are here. People are coming to invest in Kenya. And if you look at Africa, the opportunities are even bigger. So we welcome people who want to play that particular role, that we are here to mentor you. The cake is so big, even if Optiven expand, we cannot finish the cake. So if you're there as a young man, you want to venture into real estate, we are here. Join the mentorship. George Wachuiri School of Mentorship, and we can be able to work and walk with you so that you are faster. You know, when somebody hold your hands, you work faster.
Yes.
However, most people want to walk alone. When you walk alone, you keep falling off. Like George Wachuiri, you don't need to keep falling off. Somebody can hold your hand and you move the mountain faster. I think you need to copy politicians.
Oh, yes.
You know, the way they network and they are able to go further.
All right.
The same as with business. Never do business in secrets. You know, some people say, hey, George, what are you doing? Hey, I am hustling, I'm just struggling here. No, look for networks that can be able to support you. And of course, maybe another time we'll talk about how to start a business, how to grow it, maybe next time when we meet.
So watch out for that next time, because we are actually talking about it, and we want to give you now deeper details on how to begin, how to grow, and how to sustain. Now let's get into another, good moment here. We know there are sides of George you probably haven't seen, so let's see if he will show us some sides. If we Google and type George Wachuiri's favorite food, would we get it?
Yes, definitely. Githeri.
How do you like a githeri prepared? It's a breakfast show. Would you love githeri for breakfast?
Boiled? Just boiled with some salt. That's it. I can take it for breakfast, for lunch, for supper, 24/7.
24/7.
I am telling you, my wife knows.
Good morning, Mary. Please, if you're watching, let's see your comment as well, and just say very confirmed. Thank you for being here. And now somebody is asking, just like good, when you talk to people and say I'm a good person, they say, well, good is relative. Anyone can define good how they want to define it. So it's never here or there. But I want to hear from you this morning as George, for the years you have lived and the struggles you have seen. How would you define success?
I think success is very relative, because somebody who want to, a student who want to pass exam, and they have put a goal or a target, and they pass, that's success. Okay. A businessman who says, this year the target is maybe to make 20 million, and they make 21 million, is success. A person who really, a single person, who want to marry a beautiful wife, and then before year end, they marry, is success. So success is relative, and success is not amount of money you have. Okay. Success is not the big business you have. Success is about achieving your set goals or aims. You say, wow, I've been successful. Success could be health. They say that good health is success in itself. However, our people, my friends, our young people have been looking at a good car, a good machine, a good house. Yes. That is not success. You could be living in a beautiful big house, but you're not happy. But once you're happy, deep in your heart, you are successful. When you are a servant and you are serving people, you are successful. Like for me, when most of the time I create time to go and cook chapatis for the orphans in Soweto. When I'm there and we are sharing this ugali, unasonga ugali na hawa watoto na mnakula pamoja, that's success, because your heart is happy. And there are those small things that make life interesting. Not the big car, not the big house. There are those small things. Somebody say that people who support others, people who support less fortunate, they are more happier, they even live longer. That's why for me, I am passionate about foundation. I'm passionate about old people, passionate about the orphans, because I know that's where I derive my happiness.
And that is amazing. So if you're watching this morning and you've been scratching your head, this breakfast show here is reminding you that in whichever capacity, if your heart is at peace and you are happy, that is success. And to hear George say that with the extraordinary things, I would say extraordinary things he has done in so many years, and we're still expecting more, that he still defines success in such a subtle way. We appreciate that. One more time, allow me to appreciate people watching us back at home. And it's amazing to see the feedback we're seeing here today. Martin Waweru says, Optiven Real Estate is a trusted brand. So if you're watching this morning and you've been asking yourself, can I trust Optiven? We are assuring you this morning, together with the CEO Optiven, that you can surely trust the real estate. Now, Faith Harry says, I'm truly inspired. My day can only get better. Martha Wanjiku saying, very inspiring. And of course, Maggie Wambugu says, true. We are here to work with you. And of course, you're just responding to somebody who is saying, well, you don't need to have the money first. And we says, Optiven is to actually transform lives. And now Solomon Chege says, very inspiring story. May God bless you, George Wachuiri. And Happy Morgan says, an extraordinary gentleman doing extraordinary things. We are very inspired. Aurora Ted says, I need Optiven in CI account.
A good prayer. One of our directors is called Mr. Dolo, so he has been trying us to go to Western Bloc and Nyanza, so we are coming soon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Coming soon. Let's talk about trust.
Yes.
They keep saying, it's a trusted, real estate. Oh, Optiven can be trusted. What are your sentiments on trust? Because it's a very thin line for Kenyans right now.
Well, I think trust is very expensive to maintain. And we can tell a story, keeping your word. That if you tell people that you're going to do roads, you're going to plant trees, you're going to do solar street lighting, power on site,
yes,
you do it. Because it's expensive. And at Optiven, we always say that don't overpromise. If the property is 5 kilometers, don't say 4.2. It is exactly 5. If it is 10 kilometers off the road, it is 10 kilometers. There is that slogan that we say at Optiven, do not overpromise, because overpromising is very expensive and you break people's trust. If the title deeds, for example, the land in Marindi, we are telling people subtitles are going to be out in 6 months, and people have no problem because they know 6 months will come and end. But if you tell people titles are next week, and you're not a registrar, what happens? You break the trust. And that's why for us at Optiven, the trust is guided by our values: professionalism, honesty, customer obsession, and innovation, so that we keep what we promise. We fulfill what we promise. And that's why that for the last 21 years, the company has been going on. Of course, we have our own mistakes, and you have paid heavily for those mistakes, and that's about trust. And when people trust you, let me tell you, the business can only grow. When they mistrust you, I can tell you the company just goes down. And we are happy that I must thank the because that's the only way you can be able to improve. And when you give a customer an ear to listen to, you pick their phones. Even the time they're abusing you, I pick their phones.
All right.
And listen to them. Don't talk. Listen to them. When you listen to a customer, that fume, that annoyance, that energy to rebuke somebody goes down. Most of the customers just need to be listened. And then you listen and act. That's a game changer for Optiven.
All right.
We have a whole department for customer experience to take care of customers' complaints, customers' feedback, and they say any company without customers' complaint is a company that is going to the drain. When you find customers, they have issues, you are growing. And then you work on them, and then the company can only go up. Optiven, the next maybe 10 years, it is going to be the size of Safaricom. I can tell you, I can guarantee you, the rate at which we are growing. Right now, we are venturing in the market in Congo.
Yes.
If we are going to be in Lubumbashi the next couple of months. Because we are looking at Africa as our market. And I want to encourage people out there doing business. Because many business people in Kenya, they only look at our borders. They do not want to close the border, go to Tanzania, go to Rwanda, go to Congo, go to Nigeria. And for us at Optiven, because we mentor thousands of other companies, including real estate. I'm a patron of a group that do the same thing we do. We want to inspire them, to encourage them that you can be able to do business across borders. Why? This market is ours. The globe is ours. And don't limit your thinking as a business person. And that's an encouragement for business people there. Those who want to start business, please do it. The era of white-collar jobs, it's over.
Evidently.
And that's why we thank the government of this curriculum-based CBC. Because now, like my daughter is at that program, I can see the young lady thinking, even doing decorations for wear, the traditional wear. And that's what we missed, because our people are taught, go to school, go to university, look for a job. I tell young people that do groups. Find something you can do. You can even go online, say, we'll be marketing Optiven projects. George, what's the commission? We'll give you commission. You start earning. And that's the kind of idea that our population that is jobless must do. We must think on how we can start our own small thing, including those in the counties, because there are opportunities in the counties. And I always tell people that when you're in a group, people listen to you. When you are alone, nobody will listen to you. Yes.
And I like what you have said, which I'm picking from this part, that you should never limit your thinking.
No.
So don't limit your thinking, even as you're speaking. If you have more questions, just widen it up, the scope, talk to us, whatever it is that you want to ask before we wrap up in a few minutes. Don't limit that thinking and ask it this morning, because if it's not this morning, well, who knows, all right? Now we want to talk about, people have been swayed. Like you said, you start this, it fails. You get, another thing, you're swayed the other way. Years down the line, you are still George Wachuiri, you're still, a man of God, you're still talking about faith and prayer, and you're yet handling so many things. Like you've said, you're going further to other countries. How are you still able to remain grounded? As we're speaking, on a light note, even artists are now changing from secular to gospel, gospel to secular, some into politics, all right? We're not seeing you swayed this way. How are you able to remain grounded and firm, not even as Optiven yet, but as George in this era?
I think there's one slogan I always tell people I mentor, that never allow money to be your master. Money must be your servant. Never get excited because you have much money. Never get excited because Optiven is growing. It's hiring people left, right, and center. By the way, we are still hiring management trainees. We have done marketing. Go to our website, you can apply, Never be mesmerized, but that things are like vapor. They will come to an end. Be mesmerized by the things that are eternal. With that kind of guidance, you see the resources.
Yes.
As I said earlier, they are not your resources. You are custodian. Remember, the owner of the resources can pick those resources and give to somebody else. That's why sometimes I look at people out there, and they are feeling so nice about what they have. Yet, these are not your resources. They have the owner. We are just the shepherds, the custodian. And with that kind of mentality, you always remain focused. And what humbles many people, including George Wachuiri, is what I said earlier, community work. Every time you go to the communities, you go to Madale, you go to the student home, you see people with cerebral palsy, you ask God, wait a minute, this child was a child like me. But God, you gave me the whole me. You have a reason to thank God for. And when you have reasons to thank God for, all the time be guided by the fear of God. You shall be humble, you shall save people, you shall serve God and serve people, and you always become a servant. I like this guy called John Maxwell, who say that, as a leader is not there to be seen. A leader is there to develop other leaders and manage resources. But if you're there to be seen, you want to manage people. People cannot be managed. You can only influence them. And once you influence them, what happens? The work will continue growing, because they say you grow people through inspiration. Just inspire them. That's what we do at Optiven. We inspire people. My phone is not ringing even now. And the work is going on because there are people who are sharper than me, better than me, doing a greater job than me, because my job is to inspire them to keep going, so that even if George is not there, Optiven does not end. It will continue.
And I like when you say that. And I wanted to ask you initially why you chose the team you chose and why it's important to work with the team. Because as you speak about XtraOrdinary, prior to this conversation, we had amazing young people who are very creative. They come up with a project, but they do not work with a team. So what you're showing us today is that it's very important to work together with people for your idea to take
attitude, the people who are committed, the passionate people, and that's why the way the Optiven team is. Maggie was here early in the morning before me. And by the way, Maggie is a better presenter than me. Very soon we'll host her because she loves her work. Nobody has had to wake up, you know.
Nobody asked her to wake up. If you're waiting for me to wake you up to watch this show,
I'm telling you.
I don't have to wake you up because now, see, we're about to end this interview and you have actually missed out. But don't worry, we have it on YouTube later on and even live on Facebook, which you can always go back because ultimately we don't want you to miss any information that would transform your life and that of those around you. Now, one thing that happens on the Morning Drift, sir, welcome to the breakfast show like no other. Is this the only time and the only place where you unleash information that Kenyans don't know? What is it about George Wachuiri that for years and ending you have not told the world this one thing they don't know about you? Are you a better swimmer? Are you an artist? I'm just trying to think now like everyone else is thinking.
Wow, interesting. What is, you know, I'm so public. I think people know even the number of children I have.
The number of children is because you're a family man. I honestly did my research and try back at home. Google is your friend. But let's unleash it. TikTok, this is the moment before we close the conversation. They're waiting. In fact, let me see.
I think I love watching birds. Birds watching. Just stay there and see the way the birds are behaving. I just enjoy it. You know, I can stay there, look at those nests, the way they are behaving, the way they are communicating. I just enjoy that.
You know, you remind me of George of the Jungle. So if we were to say, let's see if George is also a singer, would we have a chorus as we close?
Oh my God.
Would we hear him? Are we serving correct breakfast back at home?
I think I'm not a singer.
How about we are the judges of it? Can we challenge you this morning?
Oh my goodness. You caught me off guard. I will sing the nursery, the Sunday school.
It's a family TV, they're probably watching. Yeah, but I'll help you sing it.
Niwewe tu, Bwana, niwewe tu. Niwewe tu, Bwana. Niwewe tu, niwewe tu.
Niwewe tu, Bwana, niwewe tu. And guys, that's how we close this conversation. But remember, there was one last question that I saw on our feedback, and this is somebody who's probably interested in knowing. So as we close, there was a question of, are you a freeholder or do you do leaseholding?
We do both.
Okay.
And of course, for our people, they know that in the next couple of years, there's a proposal by the government of Kenya that all lands in town centers are going to be leasehold. I've seen people say, I don't want to buy a leasehold, but I want to educate our people that leasehold is usually at 90 years or 50 years, depending on the number of years consumed, and it's renewable. So you have the first right of refusal. Even all these buildings you see here, including here, is a leasehold. So I want to encourage our Kenyan people, when you see a property is leasehold, don't just drop it, because the freehold is coming to an end. The freehold is going to be in the mashinani. But as long as you're buying a property in your county, in your town, in the city, it's going to be leasehold. And for us, we deal with the leasehold like a manage. We also deal with the freehold like Kitengela.
Amazing.
Yes.
So that is just a bit of information. You can get more on Optiven, websites and platforms. And I will just end with Solomon Chege's, feedback, because that is what I would say as a host as well. And at Look Up TV, we wish you all the best. We appreciate you. There are more advertisements if you want to know more about Optiven that we air, at intervals right here on Look Up TV. So keep it right here at Look Up TV. And of course, Solomon Chege will end this in an honorable way, saying, may God bless you,
Amen.
Mr. George Wachuiri.
Thank you, Solomon. May God bless you, prosper you, and open golden doors for you.
Amen. May He open golden doors for you. And of course, soaring like an eagle is what we have given to James Kinyua this morning. So like James Kinyua, you can get your book on the stores at Amazon if you're in diaspora. Among other things, remember, you can be a mentee to George and many other business people. One thing that we have said is you can be extraordinary in your mind, but until you're extraordinary working with people around you as well, you might not make it. Sir, thank you. Come back again. We're looking forward to another session and probably more sessions.
Excellent.
At least, weekly sessions so that Kenyans can work with you. For those who cannot really get to you or get to a hold of you, they can still get their mentoring sessions right here on the Morning Drift.
Fantastic.
Thank you to Optiven Limited. Thank you for the foundation. And for all of you who have been gifted and who have received help and the philanthropy and the children of cooked chapatis with George, please tag us on their photos on Instagram. I'd love to see them. I'll tag mine as well after this. But we'll take a short break. Keep it the Morning Drift right here on Look Up TV.